Hi, this is Dave again from the Hammond School of Architecture, Drury University. So hopefully you've already watched the first video for the Makers Faire 2020, where we modeled a quick diorama and imported a rhinoceros for 3D printing. This one, and so that video was all about taking virtual objects and making them real. And this one is going to be the exact opposite, taking real objects, in particular yourself, and inserting yourself into a virtual world. So one of the things that I thought would be fun is, well, what if we could get in and see a rhinoceros and maybe some of its friends in virtual reality? And that'll give us a new sense on the scale of maybe a rhino and some other things, to see what would happen. Now, again, I'm not going to be able to take you all the way through the very end of this, so I'm going to take you through everything that you need right up to the point where you're going to want to put on a head-mounted display. But I'll even show you how to get an inexpensive heads-up display put together as well. Other than that, everything in this tutorial, as long as you're a student, you can access for free. So we're going to take you through some pretty interesting things, and this one's a little bit more complicated, but it's really cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stretch out my build space here just a little bit. So I'm going to select that edge, and I'm going to use push-pull again, and let's just drag that edge out to make a slightly larger plane to work on. So again, the rhino is cool, but it's clearly lonely, so let's grab some friends for it. So I'm going here, and I'm going to insert from the computer. In my downloads, I've got a giraffe. So let's open that one up first. Insert as component. Well, and I know giraffes are a lot bigger than rhinoceroses, but that's ridiculous. So let's scale it down just a little bit. So that's right there with my move tool is scale. And I mean, they're like about that big, right? It seems about right anyway. Maybe it's a little bit too big still. Let's do something like that. And then let's move it a little bit closer. So I'm just going to left click once and then again right around in here. And let's rotate it so that it's kind of looking at the rhino. Let's import some more stuff. Insert from the computer. I believe that I grabbed zebra as well. And oh, that's cool. Wow. There's some incredible models out there. And in case you didn't watch the other video, this last one that I'm going to bring in, I'll show exactly where I'm downloading all of these files from. I don't know, my giraffe still seems too big. What do you think? Maybe scale it down just a little bit again. Let's go down, down, down like that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know they're big and tall, but I don't want it to be ridiculous. There we go. Okay, so let's grab the last file. Where I'm getting these files at again is from the 3D warehouse from Trimble. And again, this one, something's got to be stalking all this stuff to eat them. So I'm just clicking on this, which is a line. Come on, Internet, don't be so slow. Wow, it's really slow right now. I've already got it downloaded. So I'm just clicking on this to download that object as a 2017 file. And then inside of SketchUp, again, we'll just go insert from my computer. And then let's grab that line and place it in as well. Insert as component. Let's place it somewhere right around there. Oh, and of course the line comes in itty bitty. Poor guy. It's like a little kitty cat. So let's scale this dude up. Up, 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 up. Grab some more. Yeah, there we go. Zebra, you should be afraid. Okay, so let's rotate this around a little bit so that it's heading in the direction of my other creatures here. Let's take that zebra and let's have it totally facing that way. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I just need to save this SketchUp file offline, and I'm going to import this into a different piece of software, which is developed on the Unreal video game engine. And we will take a look at what fun things we can do with this same file inside of the Unreal game engine. So I'm going to come right to here. First, let's definitely do a quick save on this as well. And then we are going to download it as, again, I like to kind of pull back to the older file format as much as possible. It's just going to be a little bit safer when importing it into other programs. So we're going to use this 2017 file version, and it should be saving that right to my downloads. And while it's doing that, let's just talk a little bit about what we're going to be importing everything into. So the Unreal video game engine is the same video game engine and same company as behind Fortnite. And so they have some amazing software, but they have something specifically for architects, which is what I am and what I teach, called Twinmotion. And Twinmotion is a developmental tool that runs right along with the Unreal Engine. And essentially, it's an overlay that makes doing architectural things and architectural presentations much, much easier than just going directly to the Unreal video game engine. And if you are a student, if you have student proof, a student ID, you can totally use this for free, which is awesome. And so that's the same version that I'll be showing you today, is the free version of Twinmotion. So let's minimize both of these, and let's go to Epic Games. So here I've got the Unreal Engine, which I could be launching, but I'm going to be using the Twinmotion 2020.2 version of the software. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do once we have all these is let's go ahead and let's paint in some grass on this so that the line is like coming through the sort of grassy plain right here, getting ready to pounce on these unsuspecting animals. So I'm going to go right here to my context, vegetation paint, and let's add in, like you can imagine on the savanna plains, maybe this really cool looking tall grass here and this tall grass here. And how this works is really pretty simple. We're just going to go to my paintbrush, and it's going to use both of those. I want to set my diameter just a little bit smaller so I can control it really well, so 2 meters. I'm just going to paint that all the way through here. And then let's do just a little bit more. I want to set that just a little bit smaller and get that working. It looks like it needs to be just a little bit larger. So that now this feels like it's starting to become a big part of this plane. Now, to make that background look a little bit better right underneath all this stuff, let's go ahead and add a material to that as well. So we can come in and let's find our materials, and let's go to a ground plane and nature, and let's throw on this sort of grassy ground in this background. And let's do the same thing on this as well. So now when I get in here, I've got these cool animals, and they're all being stalked by this line, and they don't even know it. Oh, and my poor zebra. Oh gosh, poor guy. He's got grass growing on his back. We've got to fix that really quick. So that's easy to do. Let's just come back in here. I'm going to expand this tab. And I'm going to go to my painted vegetation. And we just need to erase just a little bit off my poor zebra there. There we go. Now he's good. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Cool. Okay, so we've got all this stuff coming together. And I can imagine getting the camera right down in here, because I want this VR experience to be something where I can look up and see all the way up into this giraffe and the rhino and everything. So let's just go ahead. I'm going to save this file just in case it crashes on me, because crashes happen. So let's name this, I don't know what to name this, Rhino Hunt. There we go. That sounds like a fun thing to name. All right, so I'm going to add in a couple of views here that we're going to export out of Twinmotion and bring into a video editor, okay? And these views won't be your standard two-dimensional views. They're actually going to be views that I can pan around and look all over the place in, okay? Oh, look at that background. That background's no good. What we need to do is, well, let's change that background here to our location, and let's change our background, not the city, but let's change it to the mountains. There we go. Ah, it's so much better. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So, yeah, I want to do at least 3 different views here. So I'm going to come down to my view, panorama, and I'm going to create one panoramic right here. And let's just call this, rename view 1. Cool, I'm going to move this forward just a little bit more. So a little over here by the zebra. Create a new one. Just going to left click the plus sign. Rename that one. That'll be called view 2. Let's create one more, because I want to be like right here. You get the sense. Oh, this line. This is trouble. Create pano. Rename view 3 lion. Okay, so I've got these 3 views, and now what I need to do is get them out of this program and into a program where I can turn them into a virtual reality movie. So to do that, it's the last button right here in Twinmotion. So these are all the different kind of files that I can export. So what I'm going to do is we're going to export these virtual reality panoramics. So I'm going to select all 3 of them. I'm going to go to my More tab and make sure my resolution is set down to 2K, because eventually I'm going to be sending these to YouTube. And then back here, all I need to do is click Start Export. And I'm going to save these, not to my Downloads folder, but to my Desktop Makers Faire 2020 folder. And it's just going to start writing those. And while it's writing those, it's only going to take a few minutes. While it's building those files for me, I am going to flip back over and talk a little bit about DaVinci, specifically DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve is a non-linear video editor. And it is, let's bring this right over, it is entirely free, and it is absolutely amazing. So this is the blackmagicdesign.com. That's the company that owns DaVinci Resolve. And if I scroll all the way down to the bottom of this list, you'll be able to see the version that I'm using for free, which is DaVinci Resolve 16. Download free. And it doesn't matter if you're a student or not. This is just something that they provide as an introductory to their product line. A lot of my students use it. I use it for a lot of work as well. It's very similar to Adobe Premiere. It works fabulous for what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go to DaVinci. We are going to start a brand new project. And let's name this project VR Lion Hunt. We need to go down. The first thing that we need to do is modify our base settings with this little sprocket right here. That's our project settings. And I'm going to change my resolution to custom. And I'm going to set my resolution to 2048 by 1024. And that resolution is the resolution of the panoramic files that I'm going to be saving from Twinmotion. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. So the next thing that I need to do is bring those 3 clips in. So I'm just going to go Import Media, hoping that they are finished now. Those were my Makers Faire 2020. I've got 1 and 2. It looks like 3 is getting ready. I'll import that one here in just a minute then. So I am going to, that's odd. Let's erase that. Let me import those one at a time again. Remove. Import media. There we go. They're all 3 here now. Let's import view 1, view 2, and import view 3. So what I need to do next is I'm going to bring those into my timeline, which is right down here in my video editor. So to do that, all I need to do is drag and drop them into place. Just like that. So what you're seeing is this is my view, but it's all kind of stretched out. So you can imagine this is sort of a full-on 360 view. But when I finalize it, it is going to come together in such a way that I'll be able to look all around inside of that view. So let's take this. And again, this is a still image. So as I move through the timeline, you're not going to see the grass moving and some things like that in Twinmotion. We can actually do a few things in terms of working through that. But it's going to appear a little bit different. But the fact that we can look around using a head-mounted display changes and allows us to control the motion, which is really cool. And I just realized something. So in DaVinci, I've got these different tabs to work through. And one of the reasons why this wasn't showing up exactly like I thought it was is I'm in the cut version. We're really going to be using 2 primary modes of the program here: edit and deliver. So my workspace changes around just a little bit once I click edit. And this gives me a more standard timeline like what you would see in Premiere, where I can drag that clip right in place. And then I can use my shuttle to move this forward and see that that timeline for that clip is only a few seconds long, right? It's only 5 seconds long. So let's imagine I want to be able to look around here for about, let's do about 8 seconds, maybe 10 seconds for each one. So I'm just left clicking and dragging that endpoint out. So now I'll be able to look around right here next to the rhinoceros for about 10 seconds. So let's grab view 2 and put view 2 right at the end of view 1. Let's make this one about 10 seconds as well. And then view 3 by the line, exact same process. We'll drag this out so it's also right about 10 seconds long. Now, the transition between each clip is what you would call a hard cut. So if I hit play, you'll see it move immediately from one, and it kind of snaps right to the next view, which is okay for movies. It's called a hard cut. In VR, it's really jarring. So what we typically do is we do a video transition in VR, and I'm going to do a cross dissolve. And I'm going to leverage that. I'm going to hover over and put that right between my 2 clips, stretch it out so that it's about 2 seconds long. And I'm going to do the same thing on this last one. Stretch it out so it's about 2 seconds long. And now when I move my shuttle over, what happens is it's a smoother transition. It's an easier experience in virtual reality to move from clip to clip to clip like that. Next, let's scroll over this way just a little bit, and I'm going to slide my shuttle right here to the end, and I'm going to right-click on this and say Mark as Out. That way it knows exactly how long to make this virtual reality movie that I'm going to build. Okay, so the next thing that I want to be able to do is let's add in just a little bit of music. I really don't know what music that I have, but we'll see. Hopefully I've got something here on my desktop that will be somewhat usable. And a good place to find music, YouTube has a full suite of music that you can use for free. And this is one of those clips. I really don't remember how this one sounds, so we'll just kind of see. I'm not sure that that's good for a lion being hunted, but that's what we're going to use. So now I've got the video and I've got a little bit of audio working both together. So let's go ahead and export this. So I'm going to do a file. Actually, I'm not. That's the Adobe Premiere user in me talking. It's not underneath File. We're actually going to go right over here to this Deliver tab. From the Deliver tab, we are going to give the file a name. So this is going to be VR Lion Hunt. I'm going to save that to my desktop Makers Faire 2020 folder. Save. I am going to use a H.264 format of an MP4. So I'm doing an MP4 H.264 codec. My resolution is already set. We set that early on, and I'm going to set my frame rate to 30 frames per second. From here, I can say add to render queue, and then start render. And DaVinci is really quickly going to build this movie for me. So we'll give it just a second to finish cooking. Oh no, it looked like it changed my endpoint. Oh, it's going to give me that entire file. That's okay. I should have, once I added that clip in, it changed my out point to the length of the music. So that's kind of a bummer. But we'll just go ahead and let it cook anyway. All right, so let's go to that file and see what we have. So that was on my desktop, Makers Faire, VR Lion Hunt. And I think I called it Lion Hung. Well, that's not good. We'll have to change that too. And there's my movie. So you can see it's still in sort of unwrapped format. And what we need to do is we need to put this into a virtual reality format. So to make that happen, I need to tag it with metadata so that it knows that this isn't just a traditional flat file, that this is actually a 360 file. So to do that, there's a little piece of software that you can add. And there's a couple of different locations that have it. I'm using this from EC Design. Right here is the website. So it's EC Design. And they have a small little piece on making 360 walkthroughs. Again, this is an architectural piece of software. And this is a 360 enabled file with an app. And so for me, I downloaded the Windows version of the metadata app. And essentially, this is just going to make a small call out on the file so that any software that's playing back the file knows that if it can, it's going to take, again, this sort of flat version and turn it into a 360 file. So I can show you exactly what that looks like when it happens. Let's go back to my desktop again. And I will launch that software. So it is called Spatial Media Metadata Injector, which is a total mouthful. But it's going to run a little program. So I'm going to say my video is spherical 360, which is what we were exporting out. It is not, we're not doing stereoscopic, which means there are two eyes, and we are not doing spatial audio just yet. So I'm going to go open to select my file. I think I'm going to change the file name really quick too, since I messed that up. It's not Lion Hung, it is Lion Hunt. There we go. VR Lion Hunt. Open. So it is a 360 file. It is not stereoscopic, so it's not left eye and right eye. It's just a single eye. It does not have spatial audio. I just want to inject that metadata into it. So it's going to say VR Lion Hunt _ injected. And I'm going to run save. So it's going to take only a second to do that. And now when I go into my Makers Faire 2020 folder, I have VR Line Hunt injected. And if I open up that file, take a look at this. Now it is ready for a full-on VR experience where I can look around. So to move this into a headset, the process that I would suggest to do that is either use a full-on head-mounted display if you have one. If you don't, there's a really inexpensive way to get a simple one, and that is called Google Cardboard. And if you look at what these do, these use a normal cell phone, and you actually fold it up into the space. You can get these starting at about $10, or you can get like a ViewMaster one that's a little bit more expensive. But this is simply Google Cardboard. You put your phone right in, and it works as a head-mounted virtual reality display, which is really cool. Then what I typically do with these when I want to display them, share them with different people, is I upload them to YouTube. And on YouTube, they will show up just like this. You can start the YouTube file on your phone, tip your phone sideways, put it inside of a Google Cardboard, and you will find yourself right inside this experience, underneath the giraffe, standing right next to a zebra, and then even getting ready to hunt all of those other animals while you're standing right next to a lion. You can start adding in your own sound effects. You can start building your own movies through this process. All kinds of things. It's super fun. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed. Get to making stuff in VR.